Hi everyone, I thought since we're all stuck at home now and cooking for ourselves a lot more, I would share one of my recipes with you. This is something I was just going to be cooking for myself, but I figured I'd put the camera on so you can see what I'm doing. This is going to be a steak stir-fry recipe, so let's get started. So first thing we want to do is go over ingredients. I'm going to use a sirloin steak. This is a steak I would usually grill, but since meat's getting kind of expensive and harder to find sometimes, doing it in a stir fry can make it a little bit go a lot longer. Then for stir fried veggies, you can pretty much use anything you got in your fridge. For flavor, the biggest things I think are the garlic, onions, peppers, and ginger, but pretty much anything you got works good. Root vegetables are great, greens are great, cabbage, broccoli if you got those. Moving on, we're going to do some white rice. I'm just going to do it in my rice cooker here. We're going to start on that first here in a second. And then we're going to do a sauce for all the stir-fried stuff once they're done. And this is going to be kind of a soy sauce, vinegar-based sauce. I kind of just like to improvise with these, but today I'm going to use some soy sauce, some rice vinegar, some molasses, a little bit of sugar, hoisin sauce. This is some chili oil I made. This is some black bean garlic sauce, some cornstarch for thickener, a few spices. I'm going to add some 5-spice. Cumin, a little bit of Hing or asafoetida, and this is a little bit of chili powder I also made from some dried chilies. So the first thing I'm going to do is do our white rice, get that started cooking since it's going to take the longest. I'm going to rinse it first so it doesn't get quite as starchy and sticky. You can see the starch washing off it while you're doing this. I like to just do it until the water looks a little bit clearer. Just going to dump it into the rice cooker pot. Now, if you don't got a rice cooker, it's real easy, just a 2-to-1 ratio of rice to water. I've got 4 scoops of rice from here. They're not actually cups, they're the scoops that come with the rice cooker, but it's got a little line in here you measure it up to. So, add my water. So now I'm going to put the rice in the rice cooker. Just close the lid. Already got it plugged in. Turn it on. Set out white rice. And that's it. So the next thing we're going to do is work on our marinade. I want to get that going so the meat can soak while we work on prepping our veggies and stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is take a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. We're going to also add a 1/4 cup of rice wine vinegar. I'm going to add a little squirt of hoisin. A good 1/2 teaspoon of this chili oil. About a tablespoon of molasses. Then I'm going to add a little bit of my spices. This is some Hing or asafoetida. Some of this chili powder, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon or a pinch of that too. A little bit of cumin, same, about a 1/4 teaspoon. And then some of this 5-spice powder, which maybe about the same of that, a little bit more maybe. This is some coconut sugar. You can use pretty much any kind of sweetener you want really. Maybe add another couple of little spoonfuls, maybe 2 teaspoons of sugar. And we're going to add some cornstarch to it, but we'll do that after the meat's marinated. So now that our marinade's mixed up, I'm going to slice up our steak. And then basically just want to cut it in some thin little ribbons. So once the steak's all sliced up, I'm just going to put it into the marinade. Stir it around, make sure it gets coated good. So now I have put our meat aside that's marinating to rest, and I'm going to start prepping some veggies. So first thing I'm going to do is slice up an onion. Go ahead and peel off the outer couple layers. I like to leave one end on so it's a little easier to slice up. So I'm going to slice through almost up to the end of the left. That kind of lifts it all together. Well, with the onion sliced up, I'm going to slice up a couple of jalapenos. I'll loosen up the seeds a little. I'm going to take the seeds out of 2 of them and leave them in one. That'll cut the heat down quite a bit. We're going to do a red pepper. And I'm going to do about half of this carrot. Alright, so the peppers, the onions, and the carrots all take longer to cook, so I'm going to dump all those into the stir fry at the same time. I'm going to set these aside for now, though. I'm going to chop up some garlic, maybe 2 or 3 cloves, depending on the size. These are kind of small, so I'm going to do more like 4 or 5. I'll give them a little smash, makes them easier to peel, releases some of the juices. Then I'm going to take a pretty decent sized chunk of this ginger, peel it real quick. I just like to use a spoon. Then I'm going to slice the ginger into some fairly thin but large slices. If you don't like chunks of ginger as much, you can dice it up into little bits like with the garlic, and then it'll dissolve into the sauce more. But doing it like this, you get some chunks of ginger stir fried that turn out pretty nice, tasty in the sauce, I think. I'm going to dice these mushrooms up pretty small. They're kind of dried, so they're not the best to leave big chunks of, but they'll make the sauce tasty. If they were fresh, I might put them in slices like this, but since they are a little dry and chewy, I'm going to dice them up into little bits. They'll just kind of dissolve into the sauce then. So I don't like a ton of cauliflower, so I'm just going to use a little bit. So all of these cook a lot quicker, and so I'll throw these in after the onions and peppers are more thoroughly cooked. Okay, so next we're going to start cooking. So I've got some peanut oil. I'm going to heat that up in a wok. And once the oil's hot, I'm going to add in the onions, peppers, and carrots. So there's a quick toss, put them in oil. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to these to help them sweat down a little. Maybe like half a teaspoon. And we'll cook these for a few minutes, maybe like 2-3 minutes, maybe a little more. Get the onions kind of translucent. See the onions starting to change color now. I'm going to do them just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to add my other veggies. And I'm going to add the garlic, the ginger, the cauliflower, and the mushrooms. And then once you get the ginger in there, that aroma is just amazing. So I'm going to try to push the veggies kind of up the wok to the side again a little bit. Make some room to add the meat. Grab a little fork. Try to keep the sauce as much as you can in here. Let the meat drain a little before adding it in. Meat's cut so small, it'll cook real fast. Alright, I'm going to pull that off the heat for a minute while I work on my sauce. So, to the marinade that's left over, I'm going to add a couple of spoonfuls of cornstarch. And some other starches too. Arrowroot works good. I'm going to whisk in the cornstarch. And with that mixed in, put my stir fry back on the heat. Make another little well in the center. And I'm going to add the marinade into here and let it kind of thicken up with the cornstarch. Turn my heat down. You don't want it to get too clumpy. And kind of just want to scrape the bottom of the pan a little bit. Keep the cornstarch from thickening up down there. Alright, it's starting to simmer a little now. Once it starts to simmer, it'll really thicken up a lot better. There it goes. Now it's really starting to simmer more. So once it starts getting thickened up, I'll mix in everything else. Get it all nice and coated. Let all those flavors cook together for a couple minutes. Let's let that simmer for a minute. I'm going to rinse this bowl out so I can use it to put it in. Alrighty, that's simmered up. Sauce is thickened nicely. Get all those flavors from the stir fry combined into the sauce. Alrighty, I think that looks good. I'm going to throw this into a bowl to serve. So, last thing I'm going to do is take our finished rice, fluff that a little bit. I'm going to grab a bowl, get some rice, get some stir fry, and that's a wrap. Time to eat.